A controversy has erupted over new drama series Adolescence. It's about teenage boys and what makes them commit misogynistic violence. Good, you might be thinking. It's about time someone addressed this. Britain definitely has a growing problem with young men slaughtering girls, whether it's Axel Rudakabana stabbing girls to death, Hassan Sentamu stabbing a girl to death in a bus, or Salman Abedi detonating a bomb at an Ariana Grande concert killing 22, mainly young girls. So what's wrong with this drama? Well, it's been described in Parliament by our Prime Minister as a documentary, and it's being cynically used by the government to bring through internet censorship and to cover up their culpability. And Adolescence is a gross but entirely predictable misrepresentation of reality. Look who they got to play the killer, some skinny white kid. Honestly, can you spot the difference? The writer says he was inspired by real life stabbings, but he's a bit coy about which specific ones. It's hard to get hold of raw data around ethnicity for crimes because the establishment wants to hide it. But a Freedom of Information request revealed that in 2022, individuals identified as black were charged in 47.4% of knife offence cases in London, while those identified as white accounted for 36.5%. This is despite black people making up just 13% of the population of London, so they're roughly 3 times overrepresented as perpetrators. This misrepresentation follows a pattern that more and more people are noticing. British soap opera Coronation Street featured a storyline around grooming gangs. This is an epidemic that's plagued the northern towns around where Coronation Street is set. In the real world, South Asian men are hugely overrepresented as perpetrators of grooming gangs in towns such as Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford and Oxford. In Coronation Street, they were white. Similarly, the spy drama Spooks featured religious extremist terrorists as Christian, which is a laughable inversion of the truth. There haven't been any terror organisations conduct attacks in Britain motivated by Christian extremism. And before anybody says, "Oh, but what about Irish terror groups?" They had specific political and territorial motivations. The sectarianism was just dusting on top. And you might have seen in my recent video showing government sexual harassment adverts featuring white men harassing ethnic minority women. On the flip side, a lot of our positive historical figures are played by people of colour. So Jodie Turner-Smith as Anne Boleyn, Adele James as Cleopatra, Hal Bailey as Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Okay, The Little Mermaid isn't technically a historical figure, but it's still got all the historical accuracy of these other modern dramas. Western media is now an anti-white broadcaster with all the subtlety and balance of Radio Rwanda. So why are drama creators doing this? The creators of Coronation Street said they cast a white grooming gang because they didn't want to pander to racial stereotypes about the perpetrator of abuse. But what about the truth? The stereotypes didn't just spring from nowhere. The real reason they make every baddie a white guy is that our society is in the grip of the religion of social justice, where any discrepancies between demographic groups is seen as proof of systemic racism, which can only be fixed by being incredibly racist in the other direction, towards white people. And on a personal level, speaking to people that I know that work in film and TV, it's the only way to protect yourself from the career-ending accusations of racism that would definitely ensue if you didn't put a skinny white kid in the role of the baddie. Whatever the motive for relentlessly anti-white portrayals in the media, it's doing incredible social harm by fueling a justified perception of anti-white racism and two-tier treatment. And now these dishonest dramas are being used to force real political change. The creators of Adolescence want the show to be aired in Parliament. It's already been discussed in Parliament. Incredibly, our Prime Minister referred to it as a documentary.
Everyone is talking about Adolescence, the series by Knowsley's own Stephen Graham and Christine Tamarco. It highlights online male radicalisation and violence against girls. The creators of the show are calling for screenings in Parliament and schools to spark change. So will the Prime Minister back this campaign to counter toxic misogyny early and give young men the role models they deserve?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Yes, and at home we are watching Adolescence with our children. I've got a 16-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl, and it's a very, very good documentary to watch, or drama. This violence carried out by young men, influenced by what they see online, is a real problem. It's abhorrent, and we have to tackle it. This is also a matter of culture that I think it's important that across the whole House we tackle this emerging and growing problem.
This is Orwellian. They're going to use this misleading drama to beef up their Online Safety Act, which can be used for censorship and to target political dissidents. For example, anyone who criticises government border policy, which brings in hundreds more fighting-age men from violent misogynistic cultures every day to the UK. And any government pressure will only go in one direction. They'll ban anyone who criticises the government or Islamism, but you know they'll never ban rap music or drill music, even though it has substantial links to real-life knife crime, with rappers even documenting their real knife stabbings by bragging about them in songs. Or there's a religion that I can think of that inspires murder and misogyny on a vast scale. Do you think the government is going to ban that? Nah, they'll just come after white guys who are trying to protect their families and their country. Ironically, the only mixed-race Muslim guy they're going to come after is Andrew Tate. That's the government's plan anyway, but every time stuff like this happens, more people start noticing it. It's destroying legitimacy in the government and in the media. Let's hope the establishment wakes up to this before they drive the country to civil war. Anyway, you can see my earlier video about government sexual harassment adverts having a similar anti-white bias right here. And if you want to support me making these videos and join a community of the only sane people left in the West, you can sign up to my Patreon. There's a link below. Okay, thanks for listening. I've been Leo Kears. Bye. Bye bye.